What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Chromecast. My name's Joe, joined here today by Roberto.
What's up?
Robert.
Hola,
Robbie.
¿qué tal? Muy bien. ¿Está?
Gabriel.
Wow.
Gabe.
Hello. I'm just gonna speak in my Nashville
my retired country singer.
When I took Spanish in high school, like everybody you do your Spanish name.
Yeah, you were Roberto. Had to
I
be.
was Roberto.
You had to be.
Roberto.
And we got Andy Cam. Don't believe his shirt though.
Hey guys.
This is our robot Andy today.
He's a golf robot.
He put
Hello.
that.
He is.
Yeah.
I am.
The shirt is just trying to fool you. He actually is a robot.
I am.
Hey, speaking of, if you're watching or if you're just listening to this, we have a video version. You can see Andy Cam's shirt. Go check it out.
Yeah.
In
Didn't
our
you
giveaway.
know what it says?
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
has
we
a
kinda
shirt
gave
that
it away,
says,
but-
I am not a robot. And check, it's like a captcha.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, we have a giveaway running right now. We're trying to hit 10,000 subs on the Chromecast Podcast YouTube channel. And we're giving away a Lenovo Chromebook Duet 3 and some other goodies.
Yeah.
All
Sweet
kinds of nice stuff.
Sweet stuff.
Yeah, all you got to do is just go click a link.
But we got to get to 10 before anybody can get picked. So what you need to do is also share
Right.
this with other people.
Right.
And there's probably a lot of people that are already on our site or
Yeah.
already on our YouTube channel
Right.
that are like, oh, I didn't realize.
Oh,
So if you share it on
there's
your
this.
social, there's a better chance
Somebody
that
will
those
see
people
it.
go, oh,
boom, boom.
That's how
You
it all
win,
works.
we win, everybody wins.
Yeah,
Somebody
we just
might
gotta
win
get to
some cool
10.
stuff.
Gotta get to 10. We got another whole box of stuff we're gonna give away.
Dude, gosh, we've got some
Can't say anything.
goodies.
We're not giving that one away yet, but
No.
I'm super excited about that one.
We've got some goodies. When we hit 5,000 and then every 1,000 increment from there, we're going to be giving away a Lenovo Smart Clock Essential with
Yep.
Alexa built in. And so yeah, just go get entered to win. We're giving away some cool stuff.
I feel like we gotta say it every time.
I
Like
have
I know it's Alexa, it's not Google, but that's what they gave us to
Yeah,
give away,
so
and it's
it's
still something
Disclaimer.
that could be cool. Yeah.
Done.
I
All
have
right.
a stack of stuff on my desk that we'll be giving away as soon as I test it all out. So
I love doing giveaways. It's so much fun.
Probably one of my favorite things.
sorry,
Like
shameless
product
plug. Smoke
reviews,
Insider's giving
giveaway.
away some stuff too. So
Yeah.
Oh,
just
yeah,
saying,
that's
if
right.
you haven't been over
Check
there,
it out, smokeinsider.com.
Yep, we'll link it.
YouTube.
Yep, YouTube.
Yep,
Instagram.
go over, check it all out.
Yeah,
Starting
we're
to get some
everywhere.
traction,
but, yeah,
baby.
we're everywhere but TikTok. So if
Yeah.
you are into cooking, not just barbecue, if you're into cooking, we're giving away some wireless Thermal Pro.
I looked at them. Same ones I
Thermometers.
got. That's what I own.
The Thermal Pro?
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah, they're awesome.
there you go.
It's
Love 'em.
good. Waterproof, shock resistant, 300 feet.
Yeah.
So you can go to the front yard and play golf while your stuff is cooking in the back. So
Well, the cool part about them too is like you don't have to use their little receiver if you don't want to. Like if you just need to quickly check, probe it, check it, move on. You
Right.
don't have to. You
Don't have to have it all hooked
do
up.
all the wireless stuff. But if you're going to leave them in and go back inside, you can keep an
cool
eye on
stuff.
it.
Love
It's dope. Love
Yeah,
it.
so we're giving away stuff left and right. Andy Cam, what do you got to
what
give
do you
away?
got to give away, man?
Oh, I don't have anything to give away, but I did want to speak about giving away things. Do you know how to tell how heavy a Red Hot Chili Pepper song is?
I don't know.
You give it away, give it away, give it away now.
There you go.
You're
There you
welcome.
go.
You're welcome.
Just for that, we're going to
You're
give one
welcome.
of your cameras away.
Just take that into the office on Monday. Listen to the Chromecast podcast. Get all of your great dad jokes for the office on
And
Monday.
after that, we gave away his microphone.
That's right.
So,
No more talkie for you.
That we gave away his camera.
I mean,
His
that's
shoes.
not bad.
No, we need the camera.
Yeah.
We need the camera.
Shoot.
He's just over there.
It's
He's over
not
there.
bad, but if you want to borrow my kids for a weekend, that will raise your dad joke game.
Yeah.
So the best reel I saw this week, it was a guy and he just kicks the door open to his kid's room and it says, do any other dads do this? So the dad just like kicks the door open and he just stares at the kid and doesn't say anything. He just stares. And the kid's looking at him like, what? And he just looks around for a second and then he just knocks something off the desk and then walks out.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I do that to my kids all the time. And you don't
I was
even
waiting
know
for a joke.
No,
That
it's
was
like you.
too.
Yeah, that's it. It's like you don't even know why. It's just as a dad, you feel the need to every once in a while just walk in and flex on your kids. Be like,
Yeah. Just
sitting in here, breathing my air,
Just-
eating my food,
right.
sucking up all my internet.
That usually happens to me. Like, basically, I'll be sitting there and I'll hear my wife telling something to my kids, and she didn't have to say anything. I can tell, like, they're not quite listening. And I'm doing whatever it is
Yeah.
I'm working on or looking at, and look up and like, hey,
Hey.
and they'll go do what I ask, and she always looks at me like,
Yep.
so frustrating. I'm like, I know it's the dynamic. It is what it is. But
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's usually
that's,
like
that's
I'm-
the flex.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
even
at-
have to do anything.
Yeah, I'm
like,
at the other end of the house and I hear my son doing whatever while my wife's trying to tell him something, and I get up, I walk down the hallway, and I look at him, and I do this. I just stick one finger up in the air, and he puts his head down, and he does whatever. And I know it frustrates her, but I mean that's the
nature of it.
dynamic that we have in our home.
And it's not like I'm some dictator at the house.
Right.
Like I'm not like beating my kids.
That's me. I'm like
It's just something about.
I'm pretty soft on
Dictator-
them, but she's
Dictator
really
Robbie.
soft. Yeah, she's really soft on them. She's got the maternal instinct.
Like
Let's-
white
stuff.
beating the desk.
Let's talk about what everyone really wants to talk about. My new shoes. That's
I don't want to.
That's what
That-
everyone.
that is not
That's what
cross-
everyone wants to hear.
That
about-
crossed
on
my
this
mind.
podcast.
Crossed my
Have yours come
mind
in?
once when I saw your Facebook story, and that was, yeah.
I'd like to go on to the next topic, please.
Andrew ordered the same
Me and-
shoes, and they're still not.
me and
here.
Andy Cam.
Did you
We
not
think
get
so.
them or?
Yeah, he
They-
got them as well.
Yeah, they didn't make it on the bus or the truck. Apparently.
So you both won the same.
We did.
Yeah, same
What
raffle.
are the odds of that? Were you like
I
the
mean,
only two people?
I don't know. I feel like these were more hyped than I realized.
Yeah, they
like
were.
I didn't realize how like hyped they were. So I would say it's probably
Huh.
fairly rare that we both got them.
Mine should come in here in the next hour. So.
Yeah. We're going to start a separate podcast about sneakers and cameras.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to
Just
do.
do it. Talk about that stuff.
All right. So one other kind of thing that wasn't on the list here, but I do want to talk about is the announcement from T-Mobile and SpaceX yesterday.
Yeah.
Very, very, very interesting.
Yeah, I totally missed the actual thing. Like,
I kinda
heard you
stumbled
talking about
upon it.
and I did read the entire press release this morning because it was in my feed. And I was like,
Yes.
forgot. And
Darn
then
it.
they had
Because
a
you were
link
the
to-
one that told me.
Yeah.
And then I like set a reminder on my phone. My phone was charging, so I
Should've
didn't
done
see
that.
that. And then I was on YouTube just watching some videos, and it popped up as one of my recommended. And it was like starting in 5 minutes, and I was like,
Yeah,
yes.
as much as I love Good, I was sitting and watching a Good video
There you
instead.
go. Yeah.
Well, GM Golf technically, but yeah, I could
Yeah.
have definitely been watching
Yeah.
that instead. But
And
I
the
forgot.
announcement was really fun. I forget the CEO's name from T-Mobile.
I still haven't.
Yeah,
haven't-
it'll always be John.
I know.
Ray.
I don't know. Andy Cam, help me out
It
here.
starts with a T, I think.
Mike.
Yeah, Mike
Yes.
Seifert starts with a T.
Seifert.
Okay, cool.
It ends with a T.
it.
Right.
So he got up, talked a little bit about their whole beyond coverage mission, and then announced the above and beyond coverage, which is basically putting antennas on Starlink satellites that will provide very basic mobile coverage in dead zones.
So they're gonna have to
in the
add
US.
hardware to each satellite.
Yes, the Gen 2
Jeez.
Starlink will have a.
Oh, so they're just gonna send them new ones.
Yeah.
I was like,
The
what, they're
Gen
gonna
2.
wrinkle
That,
them and-
that
Yeah.
would be hard.
No, yeah, they are. No, gosh, I don't even know if
I
that's
mean, I
possible.
guess it's a thing, but I don't like
Yeah.
space cowboys.
Yeah, right.
Let me get the antennas on you.
That was a good movie, by the way.
1,400 miles an hour, space cowboys. I really, really, really want.
They need a personal spaceship that looks kind of like a horse.
I want
rocket
some.
jets on
I
the
want some
sides.
graphics here. You better get to work on this, Andy Cam.
Wrangle the satellite and put the antennas on there.
So, yes, they will have to put antennas on the Gen 2 Starlinks that are going up. They're fairly large, which is interesting, but they'll fold out and provide this low band signal that your phone will be able to send out and it'll be able to pick up and stuff. And this isn't like a replacement for your cell phone
No.
coverage.
No.
At first, I thought it was. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Eventually, it could
that's
be.
the idea.
And that's why we're excited about it, because they did talk about data and voice eventually coming. And so if you have
Well, I think voice is going to be there, right? Or is it just messaging?
not up front, yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
just texting and MMS and some select messaging apps.
Okay.
At the beginning.
I thought basic voice call was in there too.
Yeah, voice will come later, they said. But yeah, incredible announcement. But yeah, we're excited for the future, hopefully, where obviously Starlink is doing its thing. You can have the terminal, you can get internet access via Starlink. Gabe mentioned earlier when we were talking in the office about how several terminals were sent out to Ukraine when everything was happening there.
Mm-hmm.
So that technology's there, but being able to use it without a terminal, right? And you just have your signal, your phone picking up a signal like it would when you're out picking up a signal off of a tower. and having that on a Chromebook. I mean,
Yeah.
this always connected device that Chromebooks are. That's what the Chromebooks are built for, and being able to do that.
I'm ignorant a little bit
Yep,
about
there you go.
Starlink. Is the little terminals that accept the
Yeah,
That's like your
modem.
router, right?
Yeah, it's
your
like your
modem.
are
or
those
router.
like wireless dealios? Like, is that a little better?
No, I think they're.
No, like they are.
Or
Like
is that
I've
like
seen.
an installation?
I've seen. Oh no! I've seen people that are like van life, living out in vans, and they're using them there.
Okay.
So
they're portable.
They are portable. Yes, it is not hardwired in any sort of way.
Yeah,
Obviously,
because that
It
was
looks
more
like
my thought.
a golf simulator.
they're fairly small.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you put the little antenna on your vehicle or
Yeah.
on your house or whatever, and
But it's like a satellite, like Dish Network situation where it's got to be pointing like to the southwest sky or whatever.
I'm not super
'Cause my
familiar
thought was
with
like-
them. I've wanted to. I think it'd be fun just to test it. I think
I'm like, could they not? Wouldn't it be cool if they could build something that could be installed on a car, for
Yeah.
instance, and then T-Mobile could then, kind of like they're doing with their home internet, roll out a modem, a receiver basically that pulls in 5G, 4G, 3G when needed, but also can link up to the Starlink so
Right.
that your internet in your car literally would never
it's
have
always
an issue,
always
Yeah.
connected.
which would be really neat.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So some cool futures. Probably.
Yeah.
We're headed that way.
yeah, and like this
Well, I mean,
is
we need to for Skynet to happen.
right.
So we can't have Terminator happen until that.
Unless everything's
Yeah, it
always
has
connected.
to be a global
Right, we need
100%.
full blown connectivity
Yeah.
here.
It's
There's-
reading the thing as 20% of the landmass in the United States is still
Yeah.
like dead zones. So,
yeah, because you get in the Midwest and then national parks basically is where you
gosh.
run into no coverage. Basically, Wyoming.
There are places, even some of my fishing trips I take around here, there's weird little
Oh, yeah.
spots
Yeah.
where there's absolutely nothing.
Yeah, because there's just nothing around. There's,
right.
The infrastructure's not there because you need backhaul data to get there, and you need power,
Yeah.
obviously. And you get some away from stuff enough. Like that's a
Yeah.
huge investment that a company's like, people might be driving through this for 40 seconds on the highway, so
Yeah.
it's not really
Not
worth
worth it.
us covering.
Right.
So
It's fascinating. It's fascinating technology, and they're using a frequency that's already built in to most cell phones.
doing
Most,
the low band, right? So
Yep.
600.
I can't remember. They mentioned it, and it's probably in the press release. and
That's
everything.
T-Mobile's low band.
The low band, yeah. So you can use this with your existing cell phone and don't have to have any other hardware, and it'll be available on most popular plans for
Yeah.
free. What they
and
said.
the idea being, like it basically is emergency coverage, basic connectivity for right now, where there is none with T-Mobile, and so like there are those huge spots, like you said, that there's no cell phone coverage. It's not like there's no T-Mobile there, but Verizon's there or whatever.
Right.
It's like nothing's there,
Right.
and so it becomes increasingly dangerous now to go to those kind of remote areas and do anything.
Yeah.
Because the minute you do, like if something were to happen, no one's going to find you.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to get to you. And so
Yeah.
at least to be able to send out emergency stuff
Right.
to keep connected. If you went on a camping trip, to at least be able to send some updated text and
Yeah.
stuff like that for right now. Like that's a huge step forward
Yeah.
versus just like, well, I'm out here. Might
Yeah.
as well throw my phone in the car and
Yeah, and
you'll hear from me in a week, which maybe some of us need
Yeah,
to
and
do
the
that.
cool,
from
and the
time to
cool
time.
thing, they were explaining, your phone will not know the difference that it's connected to this tower or to the, the antenna in
Yep.
in space, which is really cool. But yeah, this is very early. They haven't even started really building the technology. Like they've obviously
Oh,
tested
yeah.
it and everything, but it's late 2023 is when this will start rolling out in beta. So yeah, we'll be kind of tracking
Keep an
this
eye
one.
on it.
This
Yeah.
is something that's pretty cool, and
Yeah, because this is
it was
big
just a
for,
cool.
for any and all industries. I mean, it's
this isn't just this is a neat.
Yeah,
neat
that's what
parlor
Joe. Yeah,
trip.
Joe was telling me this
This is
morning.
a
'cause-
game-changing
because he watched
move.
it and he said, if you know anything about Elon, his personality's different, but he was trying to emphasize to the general viewer how important this is, because if you're not into this kind of stuff, you may not grasp the gravity of what they are doing and not just what they're doing, but the potential it has for opening the door to a truly connected world.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
It's very, very cool. I was nerding out a little bit last night. Yeah, it was. It's cool stuff, and the future of having data plugged in there will be
That'd be amazing, even if it
that'll
was
be
like
incredible.
slowish.
Yeah.
If you can get your basic stuff done, even in remote places, like
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And the technology probably is just at the point where they'll be able to figure it out, and they'll get the satellites up into place where, I mean, frequency's frequency. Like, as long as they can send the signal that can be received by the smartphone, and it could end up being a situation where, hey, in the future, in addition to 5G and Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth, there's also this other thing that helps you connect to Starlink. If you're a T-Mobile phone, you need this little band in there to connect to get fuller. Because I don't know what Starlink's if you had that service and the little receiver and all that stuff. Like, what are we talking here?
Yeah.
Is it like 10 megs, or are we talking 100 megs?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
What's Andy Cam? Can you look that up? What peak speed for Starlink internet?
Yeah. What sort of connectivity we talking here?
Yeah, because satellite internet has always been pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I remember when they announced Starlink that it was like, it's not that
better. Yeah.
It's not going to be what you're used to.
So premium for $500 a month is up
Yikes.
to 500 megabits per second.
Okay, so there's plenty of bandwidth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
That's insatiably huge.
Yeah.
Price. My words aren't working.
Yeah.
None of those words made sense.
That's not much more than my Xfinity bill. So whatever.
Yeah, $500 a month.
500. That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot
for half a gig, but it's half a gig like wherever you go.
Right.
Right. And that's the thing. If you're running some sort of operations where you are in a remote place and you have to have a reliable connection for a business or some sort of something to run, then you're running covert operations in Siberia or something like that.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
That's right.
Totally worth it.
That's right. Okay, switching gears. Let's chat about a new Chromebook that's here in the office. It's actually sitting on the desk here with us.
Probably couldn't see it because it's like so.
It's
camouflaged,
blending in. This
you
was
see it through
it
Paul.
does go with Paul.
Yeah,
Yes,
there you
definitely.
go. Yeah, eco-friendly.
Sit up there with Paul. See,
That's
look
right.
at it.
There we go. So this is a fully recycled.
Not fully.
Mostly recycled.
30% on the outer bits.
The packaging was 100%.
Packaging's 100% post-consumer. No, it's PET. Whatever that. We looked it up.
Yeah.
It's like polyethyl.
Yeah.
Triglomerate.
Yeah.
I sound like an idiot right now, but
The poly thing.
it was a long string of letters. But it's a certain type of stuff that it's like a plasticky, fibery stuff made from recycled materials.
Yeah.
And water-based ink. And so it's like completely recycled and recyclable. This is made up of 30% post-consumer recycled materials. The keycaps are 50% post-consumer. And I think that goes for the ocean glass, which, by
Probably,
the way, the smoothness of the trackpad on this thing, like it's
The ocean glass is impressive
Feel that
because
thing.
it's not glass, but whatever
That's super smooth.
That's
I get it,
really
it's plastic, but it's super duper smooth. Like, it feels really great. So, if they're going to make plastic trackpads that feel like that, go plastic all day. I don't
Absolutely.
care. And so, but obviously a huge emphasis with this device on environmental friendliness and ecological things. And as what's funny is, like, you think about stuff like that. For some reason, I remember did y'all ever use the recycled paper in school?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have the notebook and it's full of the recycled paper. And so it's kind of like white bread and wheat bread kind of thing. Like, wheat bread sometimes works, but sometimes there's just no substitute for good old fashioned white bread.
Yep.
And I remember, even writing on the recycled paper didn't quite feel right. Like, it had almost like a glossy finish to it or something. I don't know. And this thing makes me feel, it initially made me feel that way because it's speckled, which they make it look that way. It's not like the materials made it speckled. Like, it's speckled to look kind of like a recycled cardboardy kind of thing. But I remember seeing, because they've made Windows versions of this for a while, and I remember seeing the Windows versions and just thinking, like, yeah, it's going to feel cheap. It's going to feel bad to use, but at least, you're taking one for the team and doing something good for the environment, basically. You're choosing the Acer device that they've put a lot of work into making way more sustainable over time. So you're doing the right thing. And it won't be as great, but that's okay. It's fine. That is not the case at all. This thing feels great.
Yeah.
It looks great. It's fun to use. Like, I've been using it actually as my main device for the last couple of days because we just wrapped up the Spin 714 review. So I'm like, ooh, before I send this back, I can use this for a couple of days.
Yeah.
But, like, the boxy design of this thing, the way that they've, like, embossed all the logos and stuff in it. So instead of stickers, like it's embossed in the side of that. And the front has Chromebook Vero on it. Just
Yeah, I don't know if we said the official name.
yeah,
Did we?
Acer Chromebook Vero 514.
Yeah.
And so it's a Vero.
The keyboard is just.
Yeah, the key frame
I
is
expected the keyboard to be just like
cheapest
like
one they got.
paper light.
Yeah.
It is really nice to type on.
Yeah, the keyframe's great. The ocean glass trackpad's really good. I think we measured the screen at somewhere around 300 nits, but it's anti-glare, which is nice. 100% sRGB. It's got a 1080p webcam on it, fingerprint scanner. This one's got a Core i7. Yeah, this one's the i7
Steam
16256.
compatible. Yeah, it's great. It's fanned, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, it's so good. And for a recycled Chromebook, obviously it's all plastic, and a lot of times we're like, oh, all plastic. There was a device that came in, I won't say what it was, that had a high price tag. And I got it out of the box and realized it was all plastic, and it was not good plastic. And it was such a turn off that we're probably not even going to do anything with it. We're just going to send it back. And that type of thing, a lot of times you think like, oh, this is an all plastic Chromebook, so it feels cheap. It feels flimsy. Not the case at all with this. Like, this thing is firm. Like, it feels like it's made of aluminum. I mean, obviously the touch doesn't, but the firmness of this device, it's just so well made. And the i3-8128 model will be at Best Buy in October for $500,
which is
awesome.
crazy.
and that's another thing. Like with recycled stuff, usually like doing my part, it's going to cost me a little bit more, but it's okay.
Yeah, 'cause you
being
figure-
a good consumer, and it's like, no, it's dirt cheap.
Yeah,
for
the
a-
HP which it'll be a convertible, but HP's comparable specs. It's going to be a $720 device. So that's killer.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, to the point, like, I don't know. There's part of me that really I like having this. I like this Chromebook a lot. I really do. So I don't know. We've been going through so many Chromebooks. The idea of me having this is going to be my Chromebook is a joke, because I'd go buy it and I'd never get to use it.
Right.
So, but I really, really like this Chromebook. I can't wait till we get to review it, so I can get to spend a few weeks with it and actually to give my full review of it, because we can't talk about all this stuff just because it's technically pre-production. This thing feels post-production. Like, it feels really good.
Feels ready.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I mean, you already said it, but just like the small touches, just the embossed logos and the yellow accents.
So
the little yellow pop
the little feet, they're a little yellow.
is really cool.
It's just so cool. It's got all the ports you want, USB-C. I looked up. They didn't say. I would assume with this board, it should be Thunderbolt ports, but they don't say on here.
It's i7. I can't imagine it not being.
Any Alder Lake core, they all have potential to be Thunderbolt ports, but yeah, so it should be 2 Thunderbolts, but you get the full size HDMI. So port layout's great. Like, nothing to complain about with this Chromebook. I guess, I don't know. I never use convertible stuff on Chromebooks, to be honest. So I wish I had a 1-finger lift. But the hinge is nice and firm, so when it's open and you go to push on it, like, that thing ain't moving. It's not wiggling around and stuff. The webcam looks really good. So speakers.
I was gonna say, did you listen
meh.
to the speakers, because they're
okay.
downward, right?
Yeah, they're just okay. So that's probably my only knock against it as a Chromebook overall. But I really like this thing.
Is that their Vero logo? Vero
that's their
logo.
little.
It's this.
Or is
it's
that
post-consumer recycled logo?
Oh, okay. Oh, is that one just have the wave on it because it's the ocean plastic?
I don't know,
Probably.
maybe. It looks similar to that, but this one
Sounds
has the
right.
little arrow on it, and
Right.
that one doesn't. So I don't know.
Yeah. And the top is, I when we were filming the unboxing, I wasn't messing around with it much, but it's like textured too.
Oh, yeah.
It's got a print, or like a, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's textured.
Yeah, it's got a cool design going through the whole thing.
Yep. Almost like raised dots. Almost,
Yeah.
kinda.
Yeah.
But you don't get any fingerprints with it.
right.
And again, like, when you pick it up, like, it just feels so
Significant.
substantial. I love it. I love this. I
And
love
so,
this device.
And so the you mentioned October for production model.
Yeah, so it should be hitting Best Buy in October.
Dang, so we're
So not too long.
Yeah, I was gonna say fairly close. That's probably
Few
why
weeks.
this one feels so good. Like, this is
it's pretty close.
probably close to getting.
Yeah, my guess is, like, we'll get a review unit. It will be this exact same thing. But yeah, being able to configure it up to these, like the fact that it's got all the high end stuff in it too, is really interesting to me. Again, and that's just because I've got certain ideas about like what recycled means. It always
Yeah, I
meant,
mean,
like,
a device like this, I
secondhand.
would expect to see with like a Pentium Silver.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
Whatever.
I think they're going to do
Like a Pentium Gold
version.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pentium Gold version.
But,
of this, but
I think like the new 17-inch devices that are out on the market, they have a Pentium Silver or 8 gigs of RAM. Okay, this. Okay, that's what I imagine looking at this. But
Yeah, 'cause it's recycled,
This has
like-
everything that you would want in a premium device.
yeah, and I don't know. There's just something about, and maybe it's just the fact that we get aluminum laptops all the time,
Yeah.
and
Just
we
something
see a lot of
different.
yeah. It's so different, so intriguing, and I love that they have this boxy design to it. I wish more laptops looked like this. Mac OS or MacBooks have not gone too far away. Like the MacBook Air was pretty slopey, but they had to do that to kind of give it the original one, make it look like that wedge shape. But they've really gotten away from that, and there's something modern and cool about this. And we've said it since the original Chromebook Pixel and the Pixelbook and all those devices. Like, you don't need all the slopes and curves and stuff on a laptop unless it's a big chunker, and you've got to do that to make it
Make it
look
look
less
slimmer,
ridiculous
yeah.
on the
But
desk.
anything from 12.3 to heck, even 15.6, but 14-inch. I love all the way back to the C302, but the
Yeah.
Pixel also, that squared off. There's something just premium and
like industrial almost.
sophisticated
Yeah.
about that squared off
Yep.
look.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
like
think it proves to you too that it is actually as thin as they're saying it is. Like,
right.
Right.
Yeah,
if it's got those boxy edges and still doesn't look ridiculous sitting on the desk, like that's not a thick device, because your eyes aren't getting faked out at all
Right.
by this. Yeah.
It does have the lift, correct? The Ergo
Yeah.
lift, or
Yeah, that's what Asus calls it.
Asus.
so.
Is that's their branded?
Yeah, that's there.
I think at the end of the day, like that's way less about like giving you. I don't know why it's ergonomically better to type like this. I don't understand that.
I think it probably helps the fans a little bit. And the
That's
speakers.
exactly what it is.
And
That's
the
what it's
speakers,
for.
yeah.
You get the thing up off the desk, and that under fan can move air. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. And like, remember, keyboards always have those
Yeah.
kickstands on them, so they're sitting up. I'm
Yeah.
like, how is this better? I don't understand that. Like, I would
Maybe
think
because
that
in this position, you're maybe there's more effort involved holding your hands stable than they are at an angle. I don't know.
is the right-
We should ask a doctor.
Yeah.
yeah.
Google it. Google it, Andy.
Hand
Cams.
doctor.
Why are keyboards lifted? What's the science
It's
here?
ergonomically better.
Why?
I don't think so.
But why?
I think y'all made that up.
Doesn't feel
It
comfortable
feels
at all.
Terrible. Like, I like
You have a lot of orthopedic experience. Why don't you tell us, Andrew?
Well, that's why I moved to like typing just on my Chromebook, because it's like, cool, this is flatter. This feels a whole lot better than this to me.
That's like I never put
it
up the
is it like a
kickstands on my
reachability thing,
I
maybe?
never put up the kickstands on my external keyboard.
No, lay 'em down.
Which maybe that's not good, but I don't see. Knock on wood, I don't really have any.
Remember that guy Craig that used to work here?
Yeah.
Remember
Craig.
that crazy keyboard he got? Did y'all ever see that?
Cave troll Craig.
It was a keyboard, but it was like indented.
Oh,
It's
yeah, it
like
was-
the size of softballs, basically, like rounded that
So
way.
weird.
And it was meant to be basically. I mean, your hands sit like this naturally, so it was like you almost typed inward, kind of like this deal.
It was the strangest.
super bizarre. But
keyboard I've ever
if
seen.
you got your hands used to it, it's like that is crazy comfortable. And you notice like some of the ergonomic, the big, slopey keyboards, they have a big rest here, but the keyboard itself actually sits a little below your wrist.
Right.
I'm like, that seems ergonomic to me. The whole like ergo lift hinge.
Yeah,
That
that's
doesn't
weird.
make any sense. You need more air for
Yeah.
fans. It's
What'd
okay.
you find?
That's actually what you were just saying, Robbie. Is what I'm saying is that the angled away from you
This
is
way.
actually the best way. But the whole idea is to prevent wrist issues. But it's obviously a little
Nah,
wrong there
Nah.
to me.
nah. Weird. Very strange.
Put it up and down. I'll type.
So
like
the
this.
feet on my external keyboard should be here,
I'm gonna-
not here. So
Yeah.
I
I'm
did
gonna
this.
type vertical. Just
I want-
finger.
I want yeah.
I want
90
the
degrees.
opposite of what Craig had. I want one that's concave.
Hold
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
sit
no,
down.
it's like a sphere, and your hands just rest on it, and you just
That'd be convex.
convex.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
convex.
convex. That would actually be pretty cool.
So they're also saying that the angled up ones are apparently more intuitive. So. I don't,
intuitive to what?
Just what you're saying. Easy to use.
to seeing the keys.
We got to make a clip of that
Yeah.
one. See, I need some words over top. Seems wrong.
Maybe if you're
wrong
if
to
you're
see
one of
the
the hunter,
keyboard,
if you're a hunter typer, and I don't see
Where
I don't understand.
the letters are closer to your face, so you can
I
see
don't
them
know.
better.
Yeah.
I
so
don't
you
know.
can-
This is
I
all
don't
very
believe it.
strange to me.
I don't believe it.
I will say the most comfortable mouse that I've ever used is the MX Master that I've been using.
I tell you,
and it's that kind of
just kinda up.
Did you
kind of
see
raised.
the keyboard that Artem tweeted the other day? He's trying to find one. It's like an old Windows. It's the big split with the built-in hand rest and everything.
Yeah.
They don't make them anymore. He's trying to find one because his family died. And Josh Hendrickson from Review Geek or How to Geek was saying he had one he could dig out and send to him because Artem said they're selling on eBay for like $400
my
because you can't
gosh.
find them anywhere. I'm like,
That's funny.
I
Yeah,
probably
they had the
have
split
one of
where you
those in the
kinda-
garage.
The whole.
It's like laid up like this,
Uh-huh.
which is, I mean, this is no good.
All right.
This is how your hands sit. Like the keyboard should be a kind of a V shape.
You know, we have one here, and I've tried. I know I would get used to it, and it's probably be better for me, but I just don't want to take the time to readjust.
I go through too many Chromebooks. It's like I've got to make peace with the keyboard the way
Flat
it is.
You have to
Keyboard,
sit and
yeah.
use that device
Right,
to
so-
get a feel for
Yeah,
keyframe.
if I just set it over there and hook it all in and use external stuff, it's like well,
You're not gonna get a feel.
Yeah.
I'm reviewing a Chrome box at that point, so I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I got to make peace with the keyboards, even though there's some ergonomic keyboards I really like. They're so much more comfortable, but
Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully
Deal
I
with
won't.
it.
Hopefully I won't regret that in 15 years.
That's right. I've got reviewer wrists.
Yeah, you'll have golfer wrists. You
I was
want
gonna
to-
I was gonna say
my
golf.
body's like, haha, you think that's gonna screw you? up?"
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
let's take a quick break for an ad, and we'll be right back. This is not your average bag of fresh roasted coffee. This is the special edition Chrome Unboxed Anniversary Blend. Here at Chrome Unboxed, we're not just nerdy about Chromebooks, we're also coffee snobs. And we wasted a lot of time hand roasting coffee before we found Fresh Roasted, and we haven't looked back since. This coffee is roasted fresh to order, immediately packaged, nitrogen flushed, and shipped directly to your door. And although we can't officially say that this Chrome Unboxed edition tastes any better than the normal anniversary blend, that is the word around town. But don't just take our word for it. Pick up a bag for yourself and let us know what you think. Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. During the break, just because we're nerds, we were trying to figure out exactly the spectrum
Gotta
that
get
they're
the deets.
using. That they're using for these T-Mobile Starlink antennas,
Yep.
Yes.
So,
and it is actually not low band.
No, it's actually I would
they
call
called it
high.
mid-band in the press release, but
Yeah, they consider like 1700. I think 1900 is considered. You said it was a 1900, right?
yeah, so it's 1910 to 1955.
Yeah. So yeah, they got that from Sprint, and Sprint used that. Well, no, so I think Sprint only did WiMAX on 2500, but they had the 1900 block
Yeah.
of Spectrum that they used for other stuff too. So
Yeah. Some of the regulatory stuff on all of this is interesting to me.
It's hard to wrap your head.
it's a weird thing to be interested in.
But hey, whatever.
Well, it's interesting in that we have a commission that has to make sure that all of this stuff is being operated
and
the right way.
understandably so, because like some of the pushback they had. What was the latest thing they were pushing back because they were saying that it was going to interfere with planes
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yep.
So I mean,
Yep.
this is very important stuff to regulate.
Right.
Very important. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Oh.
I did think one other thing I wanted to say about the Vero.
Okay. Yeah.
It's in. I wrote a whole article about this actually. I just thought about it on the break. I was like, oh, we didn't say anything about
Yeah.
that. Acer's been making Vero laptops for
4 or 5.
when we were in New York. They talked about them. I remember
Oh,
that was
yeah.
like one of the first
Mhm.
ones. And every year, every event, increasingly they talk more about their sustainability as a company. They talk about it, I think, and are doing more about it than probably anyone else. A lot of companies at least will say stuff they're doing. Like Acer, I feel like is actually doing stuff.
Yeah, because this is not just laptops. One of the Chromebook releases in the last 2 years, they released a new line of Vero accessories too. So
Accessories.
Vero's like a whole ecosystem
Right.
for them. Yeah.
But it's always been relegated to Windows, and so like putting Chrome OS on a Vero laptop, while this I've never seen one of these in a Best Buy.
No.
But it's one of those things that at every event they talk about more and more. You know, like it's front and center in a lot of stuff that they're doing, stuff they're talking about. And now you've got a Chromebook that's got that that branding on it, and it's not just a side branding. Like it's no different than Lenovo having a ThinkPad Chromebook, or HP having a Dragonfly Chromebook, or who am I leaving out? Dell, even though they haven't made a good Chromebook
Yoga.
in a while. Dell making their Inspiron Chromebook, and Lenovo using Yoga in Chrome. Like you're taking some of these,
Don't forget that.
Galaxy. Oh, yeah.
When Samsung made the Galaxy Chromebook, the first one, and then they've stuck with that. Like these companies that are starting to take their mainline brands, big brands, and put them on Chromebooks. It's an important thing, and it's a bit of a watershed moment, I think, because you don't have to make a sustainable Chromebook. They didn't have to do that, and they chose to do that. And I think it's an important step. It's an important part of the process for Acer, because Acer's got a couple. What are their big lines in laptops? Swift, and then they've got one other one. Aspire. Yeah. I think Swift and Aspire.
Swift. Well, the Concept D is their that's their creator stuff.
But like you imagine it, to me, it's similar to if/when. I feel like it's more when we see a Predator. Branded,
and it was like when the Dragonfly came out. HP has always reserved Dragonfly for either their most premium or their most cutting edge devices. So when they announced a Dragonfly Chromebook, and it took precedent over the Dragonfly Windows device that they announced, that was a huge deal for Chrome OS. Regardless of how good or bad the device was, thankfully it ended up being incredible.
It's excellent.
But it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Samsung's gone a little too far, because now they put Galaxy on everything, and that's stupid, but whatever. They need to stop that, but whatever.
You took your really, really
Premium
well-known premium brand.
They do make Galaxy this and J this. And
their Galaxy A series phone is their biggest selling phone ever.
Right.
So
it's kind of their shtick.
Yeah.
That said, if anybody from Samsung's listening, will you guys please make another premium Chromebook? Sometime ever. There's a bunch of them coming, a bunch of great Chromebooks on the way. Like, where are you guys? What's happening?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, I mean,
where are you? We miss you.
It's there's been slowly stepped out. They're straight Homer Simpson themselves into the bush.
But there's been enough time to learn from the Galaxy Chromebook and the Galaxy Chromebook 2 to move to. You could even do a fanless. Don't do a fanless, but you could do a fanless 12th gen device,
or work with
do
Qualcomm.
a fanned one, or do a Qualcomm.
They've got phones with
you take
lots
the
of phones and
you take the
stuff.
original Galaxy Chromebook. You go with an ARM processor. You don't have the overheating issues.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that device outside of that.
No,
I mean,
battery life and overheating was the only problem.
And quality control, because they had a lot of. It wasn't one specific thing. The one that we bought for Michael has had multiple issues, and it's just hone those things and make it a $700 ARM powered device. And
have you all messed with the Samsung? What is that? What do they call their top end?
It's the Alpha
Galaxy Notepad. No, the Alpha's
no.
A Galaxy
Handycam.
Yeah, but it has Pro in the name of it. But it's their Windows laptops. It's their Mac OS one.
Oh, it's the Galaxy Book Pro, because it's on the Chromebook page right now for some reason.
Whoops! Maybe are they making one?
That was my thought. I was like, maybe there's one coming, but I don't know.
Write that article. Just put that out on the internet.
I have no
Galaxy Book Chromebook
on
Pro.
the way.
On the way.
I mean, the Galaxy Chromebook Pro.
Yeah.
Now with Windows.
Running parallels.
Sometimes Windows or Linux.
It's running parallels. You can dual boot it.
But
Mac OS.
Those laptops are so nice. I mean, they're just so well made, constructed. It's clear, like the demographic they're going after. They're trying to get Apple people to come over to Windows.
I'm sure they're in like Best Buy and stuff. I've never. Yeah.
They're gorgeous.
They're
so nice. Can we have one of those with a Chrome OS
Flex.
on it? Dell, can we get an
on it.
XPS Chromebook?
Yeah,
XPS
for sure.
Yeah, because like the original Galaxy Chromebook, the choice to go fanless and that stuff, because we never really had the overheating issues. We didn't have that problem. Battery life,
it got pretty
hot.
warm.
It got hot, but the battery issues were a big deal, and the hardware issues. And I'm sorry, Chrome OS is mature enough, and Samsung has been in the laptop business long enough. There was zero excuse for hardware issues on the Galaxy Chromebook.
Well, and
There shouldn't have been.
It should have been very few and far between. Like, it's going to happen from time to time.
Yeah, but I
we
mean,
saw
it's
there's a ton of people
like
talking about it.
unless that device
Or
were
what?
like $300 right now, I wouldn't recommend it over.
No, because you don't
something
know what
else.
you're going to get.
Yep.
I mean, you may get one the trackpad doesn't work, or the keys double type, or and
Ooh,
then
that's
it's also
the
got
best.
it also has 4 hours of battery life. So yay
Yeah.
for that. Like,
You basically have to have it plugged in.
but boy, does the screen look nice, and it's a gorgeous Chromebook.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, I would love to see them. Come out, like, do something.
Come out swinging.
Come out swinging. Do something cool.
We
Do
get
a
it.
pro.
You missed.
Yeah, and that's all
But
right.
you don't have to do a convertible. Yeah, just do the pro. They're
And
just
that's the thing. When do we get? And maybe they don't do that. I don't know. We haven't really talked this out. But do we get to a place where manufacturers have parity, and it's just here's your Elite Dragonfly Elite Gen 4
Do you want
Chrome OS or Windows?
Do you want the
I mean,
Windows or
here's your Galaxy Book Pro Chrome OS version? I don't know that would happen because
the only reason I think that would keep that from happening is Google maintains pretty harsh control over
True.
keyboard and trackpad stuff, the hardware that you choose to use. They keep pretty tight control over that. And so a lot of times Windows manufacturers will put in extra keys or extra little bells and whistles just to try to differentiate themselves from the pack.
So-
and so
yeah.
then you'd have to trim those off. And so you're back to like, okay, well, the things that make that special, we can't do that because Google said, we're not letting
Yeah,
you
'cause
do
we
that.
saw one device we had in here, a review or a early unboxing, where it looked like extra sensors. So it was obviously a reused Windows chassis. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see why they wouldn't.
if
wanna
they
get
could
into
get
doing
it to where the feature set and everything is basically the same.
Sure.
And obviously, you might have some small differences, and then they can still work with Google to make sure that it has all the proper
Sure.
everything. And then just from a branding standpoint,
Oh, yeah.
when you go to Best Buy to buy it, it's like here's this main device, and you just get to choose which
to
operating
to an
system.
extent, that's kind of what HP's done with this Dragonfly.
That's
Oh,
true.
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
true. Yeah.
Like they're pretty much the same thing.
Right.
I mean, not exactly, but it's the same idea. If you want that quality, that build material, that look, feel, all that stuff, they're the same.
Like I feel like Lenovo's trying to do that with their ThinkPad series, but
I think
they-
that's ThinkPad.
They need to get the pricing under control and get some of the features up there where they're on par with some of the
Yeah.
other enterprise devices. But you look at that and you think, that's a ThinkPad device.
Yeah,
There's no
for
doubt
sure.
about it.
The Windows folks probably wouldn't like it very much because the listing would be like starting at $799, and you click into it, and that's the Chrome OS version,
Right.
the same spec Windows version, is like,
$1,100.
$1,200.
Yep, it's just the way of it.
That is the way.
They probably wouldn't like that very
And
much.
that's another reason why we probably won't see that
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Just because.
And
they-
it probably would create more confusion for consumers than is needed.
Yeah, because
so.
you imagine somebody going in and they see the lower price when they buy it, and they expected, they've got
Whatever software they need to
legacy
run.
software that they've got to run. They're like, wait,
Yeah.
where's Windows at?
Almost have to make sure that it's Chromebook specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
The-
Make it a completely separate thing. That's
You
totally
mentioned Predator. Gabe, you've said a few things about some more Chrome boxes that are on the way.
fine. I thought you were going to talk about the new Predator movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it's
saw
really
that
good.
I saw it. It was in one of my main featured
Is it
areas
called
on Google TV.
Prey?
Yeah.
Prey,
I've
yeah.
read a lot of good reviews about it.
I actually
so.
caught the very end of it.
It's apparently set before the Predator, like
Right.
way
Oh,
before.
really?
So
Yeah.
it's thousands of years ago.
Yes.
So the Predator's way less advanced.
Okay, so it's got more
Interesting.
of a what was that movie about was it Aztecs? It's that real gritty. You know what I'm talking about, Andrew.
And he's like, you got to give me something else.
Gritty.
Yeah, it was the
Apocalypse.
Apocalypto. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I could not think of that. So is it like that kind of, or
It's
is that
good.
before that? Is it like?
I mean, this is off
Dinosaur
planet.
Age?
Off planet, I think.
Okay.
From what I don't know. I'm going by what somebody told me.
The very end that I caught was a scene with a Native American tribe.
Okay,
Yeah,
so maybe it
that's-
is Earth.
Yeah. So
Maybe it is Earth.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, back to So,
Predator.
Robbie was saying Brask. Is that right?
Yeah.
Brass. So we do know people ask us often about, this Chromebox is on sale. Should I buy it or wait? Chromeboxes don't do an annual release. They generally skip a generation.
Yep.
So we do have, how many are you tracking?
I'd have to go back and look,
Yeah,
but
but
it's 5,
It's going to be the general
12 gen
Yeah, it's going to
boxes.
be the general main people. We'll see probably end of this year. Asus usually shows up at CES with theirs. So end of the year, you can expect to see some 12th gens. We do believe that we might see some new players. MSI, as there's a Chromebox.
Yeah, that was the one that made us go, okay.
Ooh,
MSI
gaming.
basically just makes gaming stuff. I mean, they do make non-gaming stuff,
Right.
but that's not what they sell most of the time. So
they sell a lot
but
of
that ended up not being a box. That ended up being a laptop.
Oh.
That's going to be a Chromebook,
which is cool.
Yeah, that's even
But
cooler.
you're going to see like competition to Intel's Nook, whatever you want to call it. Their little mini
The
PCs.
NUC,
You're going to
whatever.
see competitive devices like that. But yeah, with our XE graphics and hopefully maybe one day external GPUs, gaming Chrome
I
boxes
think
are going to be.
one of these boxes
has a
no, it might be that MSI laptop that actually has dedicated discrete graphics in it too.
Yeah,
So
which
full blown.
makes
It's
sense.
coming. I'm telling you, without a doubt. We don't have any insider info. I'm not
Nope.
breaking any embargoes here. I'm telling you, it's my gut feeling, and I know it's the case. Like, we're going to see gaming branded Chromebooks.
Yep.
But there's some things that have to happen before that happens. So, like,
Yeah, so
Steam's got to get Steam's got to get out of beta. Steam has to be
ready to go.
Yeah, you open your Chromebook. Do you want to install Steam? Yes. Boom. Or these come pre-installed with Steam on them, kind of thing. Like, this does not need to be alpha, beta, in trial, none of that stuff.
Right.
Like, it's got to be out before these Chromebooks even show up.
So-
Yeah, and there's a longer roadmap too. Like we always talk about video editing and all that stuff. As far as we know, we have no solid evidence that they're specifically working on that. That's more of a long game thing. They get Steam out of beta and it's running perfectly, and they find a way, or they get the container to fully leverage a dedicated GPU, and they're like, okay, Steam is perfect on a Chromebook, because they said the whole Steam undertaking was a big deal.
Oh,
They
yeah.
said that this wasn't something that was like,
A
oh
side
yeah, let's give it a
project,
try.
yeah.
This was like, this is going to take lots of implementation and man hours and work to get this working. They get that working, then they can probably say, okay, now let's focus on something like a video editor or
Sure.
whatever. Because if that happens, we get a Chromebook in the next 18 months that has a dedicated GPU, then they would be foolish to not pursue any and every other type of software that you can think of.
Yeah,
Because
so, I mean-
then a Chromebook like this becomes a competitor for a MacBook
Right.
at half the price. Not half the price because you have a GPU, but still.
Yeah, I mean, and you're talking about like somebody coming along and saying, "Hey, well, I want my video editor on Chromebooks. I want to build a container for it."
Yeah,
In a
absolutely.
similar way. Yeah.
Because then it just installs like an application. You don't really see the container process like you do with Linux, and it looks just like Steam. Steam just looks like an app when you install it on a Chromebook.
And I think part of what's taken Steam a while, and what will continue to befuddle them a little bit as they're working through all the mess of this, is the fact that it's not just dealing with Steam. Like the promise of what Steam is doing is kind of tied up to Proton, which
Right.
is another compatibility layer that's running Windows binaries on Linux, running Linux and Chrome OS. And
Right.
so it's like, I think that's part of it. So I think if they can kind of use Steam as a proof of concept and say, this works, like it's not half baked.
Yep.
This works. You expect to run it, it will run. I think that point, like a DaVinci Resolve or whatever, or maybe at that point finally Adobe
Right.
comes around and,
And
says,
that's-
hey,
yeah.
build us an Adobe container for all of our stuff.
And that's the cool thing about like DaVinci Resolve is that it has a native Linux build, so you kind of take the Proton factor out of it. All
Right.
they have to do is create a Linux framework that it'll run in the Linux framework that's on there now.
won't leverage
They just
stuff.
haven't opened the doors to the GPU, because I've seen Intel-based Iris Xe laptops, 11th gen Windows and Linux running DaVinci Resolve. The way they have it right now, DaVinci doesn't see the GPU on these 12th, 11th gen devices, but as soon as they connect those dots, DaVinci will run on it.
Yeah, and so I mean that's, again, I don't want to oversimplify anything,
No.
but compared to what they're doing with Steam, getting Steam working right, like that's a much simpler lift to
Right.
get a specialized container. And maybe it just ends up being, hey, we take what we learned from the Steam experiment and we go back to Crostini and leverage these things. It becomes a little less simple because Linux is such a wild, wild west kind of situation with drivers and different, updates that need to happen, and which version of Linux or which distribution are you running, and all that kind of stuff has to be factored in versus hey, let's just build you a container where we control all the pieces,
Right.
all the ins and outs,
Right.
and make sure that this container works specifically for your piece of software. The difference in that container and what they're doing for Steam would, I feel like, be night and day. Like, it would be so much simpler to make that work. But at least when you build the specific container, that container can be updated when needed to make sure Chrome OS and it are talking, and you just put the thing in there. Or they build a container that's for, video and photo editing type of software.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we know in general you need this
Right.
for these types of software. This container is specified and ready for that type of stuff. If it's got Linux variant, it's probably going to run well in this. I don't know. I think there's multiple ways it could happen,
And I'm sure that these are conversations that have been happening for months, if not years. But there's also, like we said, there's a timeline. Right now, they're focused on getting Steam running and getting all that. They should wait. They shouldn't try to get this stuff out of the gate right now. So I think
that
they're
perfectly set, and then
they're doing
use
this well.
Use everything you learn there to then backport and do it again with different stuff. And and while you're doing that, cool. We have this. When's it supposed to come out? The video editor in Photos.
Oh,
I don't remember the date on that.
That one was just later this year, I think. Yeah.
So like when that shows up, and then we know that LumaFusion's on the way. Like, those are good enough stopgaps, I think, on a Chromebook that you don't need this right now. But there's no reason, if you get Steam working and Steam just runs and everything's working out of the box, like, let's apply this to some other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this is very doable. And again, I don't know if it's a generic container or if it's, hey, now we're going to make Crostini better and more solid across, but then you've got to take into account all Chromebooks that you got it running on. So now all the GPUs and all the different processors and all that stuff, versus we're going to build one container for this thing and it only runs on these types of work.
Yeah, that feels like the better process, the same way they did it with Steam. Like, if DaVinci or whoever said, we want to build this for Chrome OS, which, I mean, there are some Linux editors, like, I can't remember what, it's either Shotcut or Kden, might be Float.
Kden Live.
One of them has a Chrome OS build, which oddly enough doesn't work as well as the regular Linux build. You just have to know how to install it. But if one of these, if one of these people said, we want to build a specific container just for our app, then and we've said this before, that container has everything needed, the dependencies, and we restrict it to i5s and i7s, 11th and 12th gen, just like Steam does, and there's nothing else extra in that container. You can't even install stuff in that container. It's just for us.
For those things.
You can't mess with the Steam container unless you know what you're doing.
And what's interesting about this is, like, the process that goes through. So I feel like with Steam, this is a partnership between Valve and Google, and they're working on this thing. So if another software company says, hey, we want one of those containers, I don't think Google's going to be like, here, go build it. Go build your container. Like, I think Google has to do it. And so their process, probably once they come out of the Steam thing, they're going to have to figure out, when someone comes to us, like, how do we divvy out those resources? Is it an application process? Like, who builds the container? Who's actually going to put in the effort to do
theoretically,
it?
though, they have, you can do multi-containers on a Chromebook now, and they have the multiple container manager that you can turn the flag on for that. And in the GitHub, there's the methods on building. Yes, theoretically, if you wanted to build your own container and you knew how to, and you had an application, you could do it.
Sure.
It's not going to be on Chromebooks by default, but if you wanted to do that and say, hey, here's how you can install your own container to run whatever, do it.
So they'd have to, for consumers, I think, though, to make that work, you'd have to have an automated situation where I click this thing in some store or what, like, that's the other part. Like, where do you get it? Where do you download it? How do you, where's my click, and it installs? Like, it can do all that stuff. Build the container, install, do all that stuff, but it's got to do it automated. Like, when I choose Steam, are they doing that in the settings, or is it just I don't remember the startup process, right?
So once you enable it in Crush, it just app
shows up.
is in the launcher, and when you click that, it just starts.
And that'll tell us a lot too. Like, once Steam is rolled out, I'm curious to see, if I open this Chromebook and it's compatible, what's the process for me getting it on here when I choose to do so? Is there and maybe that's going to end up going through that PWA store.
That's what I was going to say, in that Chrome App Store, because they don't have to just be web apps anymore. They could deliver that type of stuff there, which would be
If they could do that, then that
so
becomes the spot where they can do that type of stuff. Do you want this video editor on there? Do you want this thing? Do you want that? You click it, not compatible with your device. Oh, well, and I got a good device, compatible. I click it, and it does. I don't care what it's doing. I don't care if it's building 3 containers or 2 or 1. I don't care what the name of it. I don't care what Linux distribution's in there. I want to install it and put an icon on my Chromebook that I click and run the thing.
It's what we've said. Since
we've been talking about.
Yeah,
this
since
for
the
years.
advent of Android apps, users don't care where it's originating from. They just want an easy, clean, installable process.
Where do I get it?
Yeah.
And is it going to work?
Right.
And that's what it has to do. And I know they're getting there. It's
Yeah.
a lot. It's a
It
lot
is.
of work. I mean, that's
and
compared to what Chrome OS started as. This is a massive overhaul.
Yeah, and some of the conversations we've had with folks at Google where, it's this evolution. It's like we started to do this one thing, and then we realized, oh, well, this thing works here, and then, oh, we can do it this way
Right.
now. And
they
it just
realize, too,
takes-
like, they have to do all these things with a focus on speed, security, and simplicity.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
they can't just be like, wow, we can do this. It's going to screw this up, and it's gonna fork us over here, and we're gonna these people do that.
are going to be able to hack
Nope.
your Google account through a container.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Nope.
that's all.
So it's another layer they've got to put on. They can't just go willy nilly, and people love Windows for that reason because you can side load and
Do whatever, yeah.
bolt on whatever you want, but the security goes away.
Right.
And for its part, the containers, whether it's Android, Linux, Steam, while they add really good usability, haven't always been the best with simplicity, and that's a pillar of Chrome OS. And I feel like it's almost like with Christini, they were like, okay, pump the brakes. Like, this is developers only, and you need to know because they don't leverage Linux for your common user.
No,
They just don't.
it's still called developers in the
Right,
menu.
and that's what it's for.
Yeah.
Steam is not going to be one of those things, and so any other thing they do that's like Steam can't be one of those things. And so simplicity is one of the pillars of Chrome OS. You can't ask people to go to a terminal
You're gonna
and
have to
start
go-
typing stuff. Nope, you can't do that. So there has to be a process in place that, yes, it's secure, yes, it's fast, speedy, but it's also simple. Like it has to be easy to understand. And people are coming to Chromebooks from things like phones and iPads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's a store, I click the thing, it installs, I click it and run it.
It
That's
works.
it. And if it doesn't work that way, don't launch it.
Yeah.
Don't put it out in the world.
Right.
Don't do it.
Right. But this back-end container technology is going to, I think...
it opens up a world of
it's
possibilities.
So many options now that I think is going to, it's going to just see Chrome OS continue to evolve,
Yep.
which
Yeah.
we're always excited about.
And it makes it evolve in such a way that's not tied to Chrome OS.
Right.
Which
And
is
that's the
really
beauty about it,
beautiful.
because there'll always be those people that complain, "Oh, this is too much. Chrome OS isn't. They're not." If
Don't
you
use it.
don't want any of that,
Don't have to use it.
you don't have to use it. When you log in for the first time, disable Android apps, and you now have clean Chrome OS and nothing else.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
mean,
beauty about it.
and-
You can't do that with Windows. When you log into a Windows device, you got Windows. You got all that
Well,
stuff.
and you got all the junk that comes with your HP or your Lenovo.
Right.
No knock against them, but they're trying to do what they can to differentiate themselves. And you open up like that MSI. Luckily, MSI doesn't do a ton of stuff. There's a few things on that one that I use for the golf simulator that I kind of just want to remove it because the
Right.
stuff pops up and
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't even know what this is. Can you just go away? But I'm afraid with Windows, sometimes you delete that stuff and it's like, cool, now
breaks.
you have no sound.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Just broke your
sorry.
device.
Yeah, but we let you uninstall
Right.
it. Go for it.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's whatever you want to do. It might not boot later, but
Right.
it's fine.
Right.
You can have
next
it.
Next time you restart your device, it's not going to turn back on. But go ahead.
Whatever you want.
That's right. Okay, let's switch gears for just a little bit because I want to talk about one other thing before we wrap up here, and that is a video that came out, I guess last weekend, but depending on when you're listening to this, doesn't matter. Unbox Therapy put out a hands-on video
Love it.
with the Pixel 7
with an alien mark on the back.
and 7 Pro, and yeah, it's the logo that's on the back is obviously some.
It's just
Yeah, we've seen that.
It's-
they do it every time.
but it's
moved
not the
the-
same one though.
No, they
that
moved.
we've seen on
but
others.
didn't they move to a different country for their manufacturing last year?
I think they went Did they go Vietnam?
Vietnam, that's right. But there for a while, like the Pixelbook Go we saw, and then a couple of Pixel phones all had that same logo. This is just the manufacturer's logo.
Yeah.
It's all it is,
Yeah.
so, or whatever.
Yeah. But we obviously we got to have some hype.
Yeah.
I mean,
they tried to undo the leaker culture.
Yeah.
It's like it's still leaking, but It's funny though. It's still.
I
not
really
the
feel
same.
like
No.
Google
It's not
sent.
like,
I really feel
Oh my
like
gosh!
Google
Look at
sent
that!
those
Look
to
at the
him. Yeah.
look at the visor! Look at that! Like we've
Like,
already seen it.
Yeah, we know.
I feel like Google sent those to him. I really do.
Really?
I think so. I think Google is. I do.
no.
Because like Joanna mentioned, the serial numbers were on there. It would not be difficult for them to track that back to where they came from. And I wouldn't think. I mean, if I had sent those to Lou personally and I had them, I'd be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
dude, don't show any
Yeah,
identifying
it's true.
numbers."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Once
it
he-
hasn't been taken down, so I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but they wouldn't. They had no OS. I didn't. I watched.
No,
the
they wouldn't
not
beginning of
boot.
it.
boot up.
They were on the main screen with barcodes and
Yeah.
serial numbers and all that. But
And so again, I don't know. They came out and I was like,
Oh, cool.
cool. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I was just excited to see Lou do it because he doesn't get a ton of like early on hardware. He's
Yeah.
he's an unboxing guy. It's what he does. So for him to get those was just really cool because he's one of my favorite YouTubers, and it's cool to see that he's still really excited about Pixel because a lot of reviewers are still kind of like, whatever. But I'm excited. I can't wait till October. Whenever.
I did like the seeing the visor in like on camera and him
Right, it not
kind of
being a render.
showing it off. Yeah, I love it. I think it looks
so cool
really
looking.
cool.
Well, and like little bitty. These are little tidbits, but like the front-facing camera hole being a little smaller,
Yep.
interesting.
The bottom
But he also showed
bottom bezel was a little
So
different.
the bezels on the 7 are going to be better than the 6 because the phone overall I think is shorter, thinner.
Yep.
And go watch the video.
Like-
Like he puts them right up side by side, which is cool.
Right.
I love it.
But it's still the same size screen, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
And then with the Pixel 7 Pro, it's a thinner device.
It's 1 gram heavier though, I think, or
so
10
it's
grams
maybe
heavier.
a bigger battery.
Yeah.
But it's a tad bit wider. So I think they took the curve of the screen down a little bit. It's not
Which-
quite as aggressive.
I wish he would have showed a little closer
The
view
angle,
of that because
yeah.
he said it seems like the roll off isn't as dramatic, but he didn't
Right.
show it super.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might go back and watch it again.
I've
and
gotten to
see.
the point with this case on here, I don't even notice it really.
Yeah, with the case on a infinity display or whatever they call those, the
Yeah.
case kind of
Undoes it.
undoes it a little bit.
It's a pointless thing. I don't care for it. I still
No.
don't like it, but it bothers me way less on this phone now that I've used it for a little bit.
The whole like side tap thing. I feel like if you put a case on it, you're not gonna have
you
that
don't have to worry
happen.
about that either. It's a nice look. It does kind of have a cool look to it, but I'm like whatever. Flat screen's way more economical.
The metal rail on the new one is not matte finish, correct?
It is on the 7, so the 7's got a matte
'Cause
finish.
I don't even remember
the 7
this one.
Pro is still shiny.
I can't get it off because of my bum thumb.
Bump them.
No.
Got a
bum
bum thumb.
Yeah, you got a slight matte finish. Look, your phone nasty.
Look how dirty my
Phone looks like my
is.
kid's phone.
Jeez, Joe.
So yeah, you get a little bit of a matte finish there versus the high gloss on the Pro.
Yeah.
So I think they're sticking. It looks like they're sticking with that. But the cool part is you get the gloss on the sides that rolls right over into the visor. It's
And
a
it
clean
just
look.
looks so nice.
Yeah.
Because like on your phone, it's obviously very noticeable because you're going with that. You've got that chrome rail with the
Yeah.
black visor. Like on the all black phone, it kind of has a little bit
It's
more of
not
a
a big
seamless
deal.
look.
Yeah.
But it is a nice touch though on those. It just kind of flows. It's just the small tweaks, which I
Oh, yeah.
love. Right?
Just, yeah, this is an iterative phone for sure.
It's an iterative phone, and hopefully this processor is going to be
Yeah.
awesome.
I think it's going to be iterative too. Like I don't think it's wildly different, which is good.
Right.
I was
Don't-
really hoping they weren't going to try to be like, here we go, because
Let's
like
make the most powerful chip ever. No.
Snapdragon. What is it? 8 series or
Yeah,
what do they
the
call it?
8 Gen. So it's the 8.
Is this 8 series? I forget the nomenclature they're doing
And
now.
Cam.
Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. Now they have the Gen 1 Plus or Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. That apparently they've wrangled the overheating issues a bit.
Yeah.
So, but I'm like, you see Qualcomm doing that. Like the 888 was great, and it felt like an iteration of the 8. What came before it? The 865 Plus.
865, yeah.
865 Plus was great too. And it's like they were really honing, and then they went to the new name, and it obviously they changed their cores and everything. And that first one was not great.
They tripped. Yeah.
And,
so
they just iterated and fixed up all that stuff. That's what I'm hoping Tensor 2 is, just a fine-tuned iteration of Tensor. Like you don't need to go crazy. Everyone hasn't even gotten on board with Tensor yet, like from an application standpoint. So just keep things kind of in that lane and make sure you make tweaks where you can, keep the overheating down so it doesn't, throttle, and then leave it alone.
Yeah.
Let's get another year under our
let's
belts.
let the third
Yeah.
or fourth iteration be the big jump where they say, all right, here's our new,
the next
the
gen,
next
yeah.
generation of Tensor, and we're also doing like
Chromebook.
Chromebook or whatever.
Because
yeah.
I'm like,
Not
you'll
now.
You'll
Wait.
have discounted Pixel 6 Pro, Pixel 6a, and then Pixel 7 Pro, and then whatever else they might be doing, all in the market. Hopefully by next year at this point, like that's enough phones regularly in people's hands. They've moved up to the third place spot in the U.S. Like app developers won't be like, what Tensor and what now?
Yeah.
Like it's going to be a regular part. Like, and I'll know it once like general games start to allow you to crank up.
Yes.
Because when you look at the core makeup of the Tensor chip, it's on par with the highest end Snapdragon chips.
Sure.
So there's no reason I shouldn't be able to crank everything to the max, on everything. And still with a lot of games, it's just
throttled,
artificially throttled.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't let you do it, which is stupid.
Right.
The only game that doesn't do that is PUBG New State. Lets you crank it all to the max and go, and it's fine. Like it has no issues running everything at max.
Was that maybe
but PUBG
because
Mobile, it artificially
was that
won't let
maybe
you.
because of the timing of that game getting released? Like they kind of built in Tensor as they were putting
I
out
don't-
that game.
I just don't think that they
Just didn't.
They don't bother
there's
doing
no
that.
lockdown.
Oh,
on
they
it.
just don't even care. They're
Just
like
run it at full tilt if you want, and if it doesn't run well, turn it down.
because obviously, like that's the reason they're throttling some of these experiences. Developers are is because they don't want you to have a bad experience. They don't want the phone to overheat, whatever. So they're like,
Right.
yeah, let's tone it
So it
down
makes
a
their
little."
game look better.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm like, there should just be a check mark somewhere to be like, I'm okay with my phone melting my hand. Yes. Good.
It's my
Let's
battery.
Go.
Do it.
It's
Let's
my battery.
go.
It's
Kill
my
it if I
hands.
want.
Yeah, let's go.
I'll burn it up if I want to. Let me see what
Yeah.
I can do. And I know that this chip is capable. Like it's quite clear that it is.
Sure.
And like with Apex Legends, even now, like when it first came out, you could crank it all up, and they've forced it to where you can't do max frames with max graphics now. When you do it, it switches. So if I flip up to the max frame rate, it drops me down to the kind of the standard graphic setting, which thankfully for that game
Is
still
fine.
looks great. Like I don't have any issues with it, but it's an artificial throttling that's not necessary on this chip because they haven't made concessions for Tensor
Right.
specifically. And the only thing that will change that is more phones in the marketplace running Tensor. When they're looking at their metrics and going, oh crap, like 40% of our audience is running on Tensor. We need to make sure everything's running well because we want our game to look good to that percentage
Yeah.
of our audience.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that changes it. So
Yeah.
it will change over time.
Yeah, more people using Tensor will obviously push that forward, and this hands-on that Lou has, you're just seeing some hardware stuff that as we said it wouldn't boot up. He's not
Right.
showing any camera samples. There's no
There's no real new information.
there's nothing new. You just get to
Other
see
than
it in person.
He did measure them, so he used calipers
Right,
and
yes.
measured everything. So we actually have full dimensions.
and did maybe
Yeah.
suggest the Pro perhaps having a slightly larger battery because of
because
weight.
of the weight.
Right.
But we don't know. It
Lou,
could
if
just
you're
be-
listening and you would like to send one to us,
Yeah, just send it over.
shoot me an email. I am fairly confident that I can get some operating system running on it.
we'll get her booted.
It might be WebOS, but I
Something
get her
will boot
booted up.
Something will boot up.
No, I mean that's the crazy thing. We don't have that much longer to.
No,
Right,
it's like a month.
It's
yeah,
right around the corner.
Assuming
Awesome.
Google sends us some
'Cause
some
Apple-
stuff to look at. I mean, we'll hopefully in
Yeah.
a few weeks we'll have our hand. We can't tell you all about it, but
Hopefully
we'll have
we'll
our
have
hands on
Yeah.
some. So
Exciting.
it's coming way sooner than.
Yeah,
and
Apple-
it's funny. Like there's just no real big leaks
No.
this time. It's just they kind of undid it.
When's the Apple event?
Next week.
September, was it 7?
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Something like
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so we've got that date set. It's like cool. Get the Apple event done, and let's move on to some Google goodies.
Yep. Yeah,
Um,
we've. I still feel like Prosser's. We don't have any insider info on this, but I feel like Prosser's right, except for the fact it puts it on Thursday.
But that could
It's
be
never been on a
shipped-
Thursday.
That could be maybe like
Yeah,
that's
all-
when it's available.
Yeah, he had that. So that generally though, it's the day of the event.
I know.
So I don't know.
What
Be
was
weird
that
for them
what
to have an event and be like, you can order it in 2 days.
Yeah,
Well,
what
that's
was
what they
weird.
did with the 6A, though, right? It didn't go on order until after a week, or did it?
What was the date again for Prosser?
No,
6th.
pre-orders went live that day, I think.
No, they announced him at I/O. Remember?
Right,
And
but
said we'll do this thing on they did the pre-orders, and then 1 week later, you could go in the store and buy them.
Right.
But there wasn't an event around
Right.
it. As far as like when they've done events, it's almost. And today you can order. What is this? Edgewell.
Edgewell.
You know,
Okay.
Hello, Edgewell.
No thanks.
That's
Hard pass.
that's Mr. Mitchell's psychic that's been calling.
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, we keep getting a psychic calling our
She doesn't
Google,
seem
Google
to
voice.
be psychic enough to know that we're not going to answer, which is
Yeah.
weird. Why would you?
Very
keep calling?
strange.
You should have
Use
known.
your powers.
One last thing. We normally don't talk about deals on here a lot, but these phones are probably going to be discounted indefinitely. So the 6A,
Till they're gone.
Yeah, the 6A is pretty heavily discounted, and 6 and 6 Pro are still.
6A discounted too.
What was the article you
Yeah, I
wrote?
don't know.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but it was a new line or something like
Well,
that.
yeah. So you can get the 6A through most of the carriers discounted. If you're upgrading, even more discounted. New line or new account, you can get it for $199 through T-Mobile and Sprint, T-Mobile. If you are upgrading, it's $299, which is still $300 for this phone. This is it, right?
Yep.
$300 for this phone is amazing.
Great phone.
But Google is still running their deal on it. You can they have crazy trade-in where you can end up getting this for like $149 if you have an eligible trade-in device. But yeah, if you go to Best Buy and you purchase through your character.
Get your character.
Which character do you
Get
choose?
your character.
Which
I
character?
like Yoshi.
Yeah. If you
I was playing Smash Bros.
Yeah.
last night with Sydney.
And the cool
I thought
thing
we were
is,
going Apex.
yeah, the cool thing is that this isn't like a carrier promo where you're having to buy the phone and make payments for 24 months. You're buying the unlocked version of the phone. You just log into your account, your carrier account through Best Buy, and they run the upgrade for you, and you end up getting it for $199 for a new line or a new account, and then $299. Like if I were to go upgrade right now, no trade in or anything, I'd pay $300 for the phone, and that's
a steal.
pretty
it's an
wild.
incredible deal. But you can still get I think the 6 is still $300 off at T-Mobile,
And
and
$250 off the
$250
Pro.
off the Pro. So yeah,
300 off the 6
with a trade.
still.
Yeah,
Still,
so.
yeah, there's some good deals out there for
And they're
these
going to
phones.
continue. Like
yeah.
that's not going to stop.
Right.
They'll probably get even crazier towards the end of the year.
We normally don't chat about Chromebook deals because they'll come and they'll go. And if you're listening to this later, you'll be like,
Right.
what the heck? Well, that deal's gone. But these are probably going to be indefinite until these phones are
Yeah, because they're liquidating
the
them.
shelf.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, our light in the corner went out. So
Yeah.
that's
Tells us
Andy
it's time
Cam.
to stop.
Andy Cam did the Bluetooth. He turned it off. I see you.
It's blinking
see
over there
you.
in the corner.
He
Stop
tur-
talking.
he used the controls. Turned
Stop
it off. We
talking.
need to set that up. They have.
that
they
really
have,
Bluetooth?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we can control it.
Those are too the
Yeah.
big ones.
Yeah.
You can control them all.
We need to set that up. Anywho, all right, we got to roll. Andy Cam says it's time.
Yep.
We appreciate you all listening and watching. If you are watching, well, if you're listening, go watch.
Right.
And if you're watching, link in the description for our giveaway. We're going to
Yep.
give away a Lenovo Chromebook Duet 3.
Also, like,
Yeah.
subscribe,
It just you
ring
know,
the bell.
All those things are just easy. They're just little buttons down there. Just go click
them
them.
more fast.
Yeah, it helps
Done.
us.
It's like
Right.
what
By the
was
time right now, you're done.
You're
already
done.
done with it.
Already done.
was
We
it
did
Topped that had the bell? They had the thing as you were leaving. You ring the bell if you like.
Oh yeah.
We need to get like little like a little thing over here. We just go through.
If you like this video,
Ring the bell. Yeah.
There you go.
I love it. All right, that's it for this week. We'll catch you all next time. See you.